into it. It's good. It's good shit.
Yeah.
Huh? All right.
Stream.
All right. Steve, are you live?
I am totally fucking live.
I woke up alive this morning. Anyway. Hey everybody, welcome to the monthly live stream, live cast, whatever, for the One Hit Power Up website. This is the One Hit Power Up team. I'm here as usual with Chris from Last Live and
Hi.
Steve from Mr. Ixlide. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Nothing much. I'm just pondering why Steve got a much less enthusiastic introduction than I did. It sounded like there was almost a touch, just a tinge of spark at the end of his name.
Hey guys,
He hates me.
There's Chris from Last Life and Steve from Mr. Ixlide. There, hi.
What it do? Nipple tweaks. I'm rubbing my nipple on my mic.
Bro, that's how what's his face Mel Gibson prepares for a role.
User has left your channel.
You have been permanently banned.
He twists his nips, bro. It's a form of method acting. It hurts. It hurts when I twist them.
Stop. Okay, because that's naughty. That's bad. You can't do things like that, okay? I'm leaning over now and again to take a swig of tea, and if you start dropping random shit like that, I've got 2 monitors I'm going to have to clean. Dude, that's really dry.
The vivid imagery, though.
The vividry.
Yeah, the vividry.
Oh,
The vividry.
welcome to the live stream, guys. Whew. I'm ready. All right, Steve. Let's roll with the first topic, if you don't.
You want to
mind.
roll with the first topic already?
Oh, we don't have to. I mean, I'm not the boss of you or anything.
Well, I was just going to ask, in general terms, how the fucking hell are you, Chris? I'm not asking you first, Ray. You don't matter. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No,
It hurts.
Though, Ray, how is your life treating you? Because I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but a little birdie told me you've lost 50 fucking pounds of weight.
Actually, since this morning, it is officially 50. It is officially 50 pounds. So, yeah,
Dude,
since that would be since November of last year.
Okay, so first things first. This is not meant. Like, I'm conscious of. I don't want to sound patronising to you in the fucking
How
slightest,
big were
but
you?
No. I want to tell you that I'm so fucking proud of you, dude, for picking that mantle up yourself, and for whichever cliche way you want to put it. We'll go with a horse. For jumping on that horse, for riding that fucking stallion out.
Are you sure you don't?
And staying on it, dude. A lot of people, a lot of men our age, will decide to go on a diet. They'll get a week into it and they'll go, fuck that, I love steak too much.
Well, see, that's the thing about low carbs is you can have as much steak as you want.
Oh, that's not a diet.
Yes, it is.
Get lost.
Yes, it is. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Dieting incorrectly.
You haven't been dieting then, dude. You've just.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what?
Been eating a bit better. I'm kidding.
No.
I am truly proud of you.
Are you sure that instead of a horse, for a metaphor, you don't want to use a whale?
No. In fact, I'm going to subtract the horse, and I'm going to substitute a fucking mongoose just to piss you off. You jumped on that mongoose, that diet mongoose, and you rode it all the way to the sticky Guillemot end.
Well, no, Steve, you know what he jumped on? He jumped right on his Oldsmobile. Have you told Steve that you got that Oldsmobile working again?
Oh, it's street worthy now. You know about you know about the Raymobile, don't you, Steve?
I know, dude. I've seen a picture of the Pimpmobile. If you remember, I said to you that.
Yeah.
I asked you what it was at first. I asked you if it was a is it a Brampton what was it that
It's an
Go on.
It's an Oldsmobile. Brom.
It's a
Right,
car,
I
you
thought it
dits.
was something. I thought it was a different maker car, but yeah, I've seen a picture of it, and it is exceedingly pimping, Mr. Kipling.
Well,
So what did you have to do to it?
It's now roads. It's now
What did she require?
It's roadworthy.
What? Go on.
Put a new fuel pump in it. I changed the gaskets on the what the fuck is it called? It's not the head. It's the valve cover gaskets.
On the thing which gaskets go.
I put new tires on it.
Do you know what you should have said? You know when you were stuck for something to say that for the name, you should have just said flux capacitor, and I would have gone along with it anyway.
Yeah.
Because
I
that
changed
car
that too.
is fucking from the past, bro. It's beautiful, man.
Back to the 80s.
So what are the chances of you doing? Because believe it or not, these kind of things are really, really, really popular on YouTube, dude. But I recommend, if it's in running order and it's running smooth and it's in halfway decent condition, I heartily recommend you do a walk around video. And that's just get your phone and just make sure you hold your phone in landscape, you knobhead, not portrait. People still do this on YouTube. They upload a video to YouTube and they've done the phone in portrait. Don't be that guy, yeah? And all you need to do is lift the bonnet when the engine's running and just rev it once or twice, or get Summer to rev it once or twice. You don't have to shower in it. You don't have the hood up. Rev it once or twice, yeah, and then go around the back and then let her rev it again and then just walk around it, dude. And you'll see there'll be people that watch it. There'll be people that comment on your video and go, "Oh man, I remember my dad used to take me to school in one of these every day." Well, I remember this was the car I learned to drive in.
This is the car my pimp used to take me to work in every day.
Yeah, it. Oh, I've seen some custom in this car.
Steve, just quickly, my good man,
Mm-hmm.
are you playing PlayerUnknown's Battleground as your stream?
Is there something you're trying to say? Are you trying to say I haven't updated my stream information?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'll poke you in the eye.
Depends on what you're poking with.
I was supposed to do it earlier, and then I forgot and went back to update my topics a little bit more, and I forgot to come back. And then I had to go on Prison Architect, so I'm really sorry about that. Prison Architect's far too good. It ought to be banned.
Oh.
Steve, you are such a complex creature. Such a complex
I
creature
know.
because, like,
You
we
wouldn't
try
have thought,
getting
would
into
you?
strategy games. You give us the finger.
You wouldn't
You
have
play a
thought I'd have
strategy
played it.
game and you
Yeah.
still give us the finger, but you say it's good.
Yep. This is number 4. We're on number 4 podcast now, aren't we?
Yeah, this is number 4.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Even my bird put in his 2 cents. Hi.
I just really want to pet Habibu so I can piss Ray off.
No, dude, we had a situation
Can you
like that.
imagine one of those things actually in my room? Actually, because everything you've heard is a good 50 meters away.
we were having a session one time where we were playing Heroes and Generals or something, and like halfway through the session, like Chris fucking, like you hear the fucking Habibus in the background, and it's just like, wah! And Chris like, I'm gonna go shut my fucking window. And I kid you not, dude, for 5 fucking minutes straight, Chris is like, I hear him like in the background, like leaning out his window going, will you guys just fuck off? Just fuck off! And you hear the bird go, wah! And he's like, nah, I'm telling you, you need to get the fuck out of here. And the bird's like, wah! And it was like a fucking, like I don't know.
Kicker, the absolute kicker is I close my window, walk back to my chair, sit down, and they stop.
No way.
I'm suffocating myself in my stale ass, like, proper, what's it, a neat. I'm drowning myself in my neat atmosphere, and then that's it.
Basking in your own bodily mist.
Yeah.
No way.
Whew.
Well, I suppose on that note, we'll segue into our first topic. Our first 2 topics are quite
Steve,
serious. Yes.
How are you today?
I'm
How are
actually
you?
okay. I've had quite a difficult week, to be honest with you.
Is it those bastard cyclists?
No. Well, that meant my children couldn't go to school today because They literally cut me up. They literally made me into an island. I could not get out of my little area. The bike came down one side, round the bottom of me, and back up the other side, and sort of sealed the loop off on itself and fucked off out of Barnsley. I was like, "Come on, bro."
It's a moat.
I just picture all these people like living on this little island, going outside. We're hungry. We need food. We need supplies. The cops are just ushering you back into your house.
Bro, it's a cyclist moat.
Well, to give you an idea of how busy it's been, at the finish line of one of the stages, there was 10,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Hey.
10,000 people.
Bro, you could set up a lemonade stand and probably make a lot of money.
I could probably do that. I could probably do that. Yo, the man that was supposed to join us for the podcast has decided to come and watch. Wolfie, what it do, my boy? What it do, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, Wolfie was the one who was supposed to watch? Or join us?
To come and join. Yes, man. I was trying to keep it on a down low. Dude, the guy's opinions about... I've decided to stop away from the free-to-play topic that we were going to originally go with. I know that's the last thing changed. But Wolfie had so much to say on the subject. And what he had to say is, like I've said to you before, the reason why I like having these podcasts is because we all have a different opinion, but it's all founded in knowledge or experience, and that's what I like about it.
Oh, yeah, dude, yeah. Totally.
I love buying loot boxes.
Right, so Wolfie, everything he had to say was coming out of experience and out of actual knowledge with the stuff. That's why I suggested him coming on and using, and he has that topic to start him off, because he was so... vehement is the word I would use. Definitely, he was.
Well, shit, bruh. We already made the thumbnail. Now we have to talk about loot boxes.
No, that means that Chris doesn't have to make another one next month. But shut up, all right?
No, I just need you guys to talk a lot for the next 10 minutes. I'm gonna pull some magic here.
Wait, what?
Right, okay, so listen,
dude,
just listen. The first topic, listen, because this is important and it is pertinent not only to me, it's pertinent to you, it's pertinent to you, Chris, it's pertinent to you, Wolfie. In fact, it is probably pertinent to every single motherfucker that's got a PC right now. Right? So the problem is oh, 1 second. Right, yeah, sorry, go on. 7-zip security issue. Discovered by the Center for Internet Security. 7-zip suffers from a pretty serious security vulnerability that can enable arbitrary code execution. What that means basically is that someone who successfully exploits this security flaw could install programs on your PC, view, edit or delete data, or create new user accounts with full access rights. The good news is that CIS says there are no reports of this actually happening, but the bad news is that the security flaw is present in all versions of 7-zip prior to 18.05. That version was just released on April 30th, which means that unless you've updated sometime within the last 4 days, your PC is exposed.
So, excuse me, just real quick, I'm deleting 7-zip.
No, update it. Update 7-zip.
Bro, I was making a joke.
So, sorry, I was a little bit, you know, just like my mind raced in panic mode there. So, if you have updated it in the last 30 days, you're in trouble, or you're not in trouble.
And if you haven't updated your 7-zip since, well, they fixed it on April 30th. So, unless you've updated your 7-zip after that, then you have a bad version of 7-zip. Don't worry, I do too. I plan to update mine later on. But like I've said, the important news is that the security flaw. Sorry, there are no reports of this actually happening.
Yeah, but see, now everybody knows about it. No, thanks, Center. Thanks, Center, for
because this is a warning, isn't it? Because now it's a double bluff. You don't realise. Now what that means is anybody who sees this now has the information they need to go and immediately update 7-zip. That's what we're doing. This is a public service, bro. This is a public service announcement. Brought to you by OneHitPowerUp.com.
In association with OneHitPowerUp.com.
Hey kids, Don't do drugs. Stop it.
Man.
Stop it. Just stop it. This is brought to you by One Hit Power Up. I can't say McDonald's because if I say McDonald's, I was making fun of that stupid fucking commercial. You guys remember the basketball, that like fucking Michael Jordan? He's just like, if you guys are doing drugs, just stop it. Get some help. McDonald's and I wanted to take this time to tell you about the dangers of drugs. Just stop it. Stop it.
It's time to stop.
It's time to stop. Oh. And the whales.
And that stop spelled S-T-A-H-P.
Stop. Stop. It's like one of those sexual stops where you're telling them to stop, but you don't really want them to stop. Stop.
Stop. Stop. No, don't. Well, so what? But that's just that's a small little thing which actually neatly segues me on. And don't worry, I know I'm segueing rather quickly, but this is another public service announcement that I'm about to make. That's not the only security issue that has been present, and I mean this is recent. In fact, I'm very sorry, but 3 of my topics are to do with security issues.
Yeah, no.
So maybe there's a theme for you, Chris.
What was the phrase I came up with? Right, it was for like a title for the video. Possible title for this video: Breach, Teach, and this industry as a leech.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I just put is the AAA gaming industry broken.
Breaches, leeches, and
those fucking teachers.
Yeah, and
who do they think they are educating our youth?
Yeah. So the next problem, after I found that, I found this as well. And if you have a Twitter account, you should probably log on. Twitter is recommending that all 330 million of its users change their passwords today following a computer glitch that exposed them in plain text. This is today. We recently identified a bug that stored passwords unmasked in an internal log. We have fixed the bug, and our investigation shows no indication of breach or misuse by anyone. Out of an abundance of caution, we ask that you consider changing your password on all services where you've used this password.
Fuck you, Twitter.
Yeah.
You know how many services I use the same password on, you motherfuckers?
I know, dude. Guess what I spent most of my day doing?
That's where that $500 that went out of my bank account went. Fucking assholes.
Well, I reiterate, it does say we have fixed the bug, and our investigation shows no indication of breach or misuse by anyone.
Yeah, that's because they didn't.
What I'm getting by this is I think this is their end, not our end. I think this is like server side that's showing passwords to staff, and they're saying that and our investigation shows no indication of a breach or misuse by any breach or misuse. They sound like internal terms. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But you know what? I'll bullshit aside. I don't use Twitter that much, so I don't really care.
No, well, you make me. I have to now and again.
happy hacking, you dirty men out there. Hope you don't find my secret Twitter porn stash.
What I would like to say on the tail end of these 2 security issues, and also on, I suppose it's relevant for the next one as well, really. But their manufacturing side, they're not. How can I put this? It's not the result of some neckbeard in a basement beavering away with code, if you know what I mean. It's the software side and the makers of it.
These are actual flaws in their system.
Yeah, and let's be honest, no system is perfect, and this counts for any system in any environment, not just in computers, not just in networking. It's in cars. It's in manufacture.
No, I just had a little bit of a thought, because also given how because I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like recently, especially over the last month and maybe software information sharing shenanigans in general between Facebook, Twitter, and various other mediums. It just seems like software at the moment, it seems like a lot of bugs and issues and that sort of stuff is coming forth. Now, do you think that maybe something like this Twitter incident was maybe they've known about it for a while, but maybe now, while Facebook and other things are taking a lot of heat, they've decided to now is the right time to put this info forward because it'll take less flack? Just a thought.
I will say this. I feel like this is like as technology users, this is kind of a risk that we all assume,
Yep.
Like, because we've.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've all used Facebook and Twitter at some point or another. So.
Yeah. And again, I go back to what I said before about the no software's perfect.
Well, that's kind of what I was just building on that. When you sign up for these services and you're using these services, I mean, you're assuming the risk, because these are algorithms that have been programmed by people, and people make mistakes. So there you go.
Yeah. There's no coding's perfect, is it? God damn you. Sorry, I just popped down. Yeah, there's no coding is perfect. It's always been amended and fixed and changed and dealt with and updated. It never,
I mean, even the actual software that's installed in my head scalp is not perfect.
You know why? It's because you're running on scratchy records, apparently.
Oh yeah, that could be something to do with it. Okay, then. Well, we'll segue into the last security-related issue. You may have heard about this, you may have not, but it has become apparent recently that the Nintendo Switch is wide open, like wide open.
Like on a scale of 1 to absolute slut. How
on a scale of 1 to fucking hell, my legs just came off. I'm that wide open. Like,
oh wow,
what a dirty whore.
Two similar exploits released in the last 24 hours following a complete dump of the console's boot ROM. They're hardware based in nature and cannot be patched out by Nintendo. The only way forward for them to fully secure the console will be to revise the NVIDIA processor itself, patching out the boot ROM bug. In short term, homebrew code execution is possible in a full touch-enabled version of Linux with 3D acceleration support is now available.
You have to homebrew to fix? What?
No. What they're saying is homebrew.
Yeah.
They can't stop homebrew without.
Okay, they can't stop homebrew
without a hardware fix. They cannot patch out the bug. The loophole. They can't patch it out. That's it.
Well, there's an easy solution to that. Just
there'll be a fucking Switch Mark II out within the next couple of months. You mark my words. You wait and see. There'll be Switch Mark II Slim or something, or with more power and a 9-inch screen. You watch.
Just don't use the internet on the Switch. I mean, it's that simple. Just don't make an account. You can still play the games.
Can you? You know what they're like, dude. Now it's always online connectivity, isn't it? That's what they want. They want you online on their services all the time.
No, but see, Nintendo's always been a little different, though. Yeah, the updates I understand. But it's always been a little bit different. I feel like Nintendo focuses more on like single player. They have a few multiplayer games out there, but they're definitely not as big on the multiplayer side as some other games.
That's true.
So like when you think about Nintendo, I think about like Breath of the Wild, the new Mario Odyssey game that came out. Those are very heavy one-player, at home. You're not really a lot of interaction. Games. So, I mean, by that standard, I would never hook a Nintendo. I never have had to hook a Nintendo Switch console up to like I have it connected to the internet, but I don't have an account on it. If that makes sense.
Right.
So
okay. Well, my son does, but It's not a concern for me because it's not. So it's not like somebody can walk past your house and hack your Switch. It's not that kind of exploit. It's it's a base level exploit where you can just change the OS and make it into whatever you want, basically. It's no longer just a Switch. It's now a Switch and a Linux device and this and that, and it probably won't be long before someone slaps fucking Windows on it. Or you know what the internet trolls are like? Give it a couple of months, you might see one with a Sega fucking UI on it.
So basically, what they've done is they've created a console with no hardware stops on it.
With a breach of with an OS level with an OS level breach
you can basically put anything on the hardware.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just tell that it's the hardware that you can breach in order to take the software off.
Why the fuck is this a bad thing? I mean, this is kind of cool.
They don't want that, do they? They don't want that, do they?
Yeah, no, obviously Nintendo doesn't want it, but I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
Good for us. Yeah, what that means is if you've got, there's going to be a fucking demand spike for Switches now. Well, because this isn't common knowledge. This is only recent, like the last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Once everybody knows, there's going to be a spike in demand for this generation of Switch because of that flexibility, because of that customizability. So if you've got one of the Switch now, I would imagine it could become worth quite a lot of money soon enough, because
I'm gonna be taking care of my Switch.
I would honestly buy like a second gaming case and just put the Switch inside. And have all the wires coming out the back. And there we go. Hey guys, check my new rig. It's just got a switch bolted where the motherboard would be.
I'm saying nothing.
No, dude. The problem with your theory there, Chris, is that the Switch runs on phone hardware.
Oh, I don't know that. I'm just an African prince.
My sweet African prince.
What? Please tell me first. Now that we're done with this conversation, what's a Nintendo?
What's a Nintendo? I don't know, Chris. I don't know what a Nintendo is.
I've only found two.
Aside from their copyright claims.
They're awful people.
Dude, every other gaming developer allows their games to be broadcast on YouTube. Every other gaming developer, Nintendo, get with the fucking times, man.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why this is big news, though, is because
we don't want you to spoil Mario. There's so many new plot twists in this one. I mean, they don't get kidnapped until 30 seconds into the cutscene.
You sound bitter in some way.
No, I'm
you
very...
sound like you've had a hard experience in the past, mate.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, dude.
Fucking Mario spoilers. back in the fucking early 90s, Mario was spoiled for me. Now every subsequent game, I know exactly what's gonna happen.
Sure, just to go and highlight as the Bad Star 4 said in Steve's chat. So are you saying we should switch to the Switch?
No. I did respond to him. I did respond. I'm just kind enough to mute my Discord when I speak to my chat, you see. I did respond to him and I said, no, if you're on PC, then you should stay on PC. But if you've got a Switch, then if it's a current generation Switch, it could well be worth quite a bit of money.
It's not worth it.
You do the literal best disappointed dad knows. If I ever have a son and I need to shout at him and tell him no for something, I'm just going to phone you and put you on speaker and have you say it.
No. So, I guess...
Can you imagine how my kids get on? Dad, can I have a third ice cream?
No.
Their world just falls apart.
It's very bland, but very impactful at the same time.
Come on.
Not only do they not get the third ice cream, but the second one that's in their hand just melts.
In slow motion, just falls to the ground.
Damn it, man. God, you made me out to be some kind of monster dad or something. I'm leaving.
Well, this is what happens when you're left on a moat surrounded by cyclists.
So I guess what we can take away from the end of this is that we shouldn't pull the old switcheroo. You know what I mean?
I'm here all week. Try the veal.
Try the veal. Actually, no. You know, we're having a breakout of mad cow disease. You might not want to try the veal. No, for real though. Have you guys heard about this new fucking zombie deer disease going around?
Zombie, dude, we've had mad cow disease over here. It's actually
I know, but
Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease.
I know, but it's a prion based disease, just like mad cow disease, but it's more aggressive. So what they're worried about is that it's infecting like moose and deer specifically. So what they're worried about is that it's going to eventually jump to humans. It hasn't made the jump yet, but they're afraid that because the disease is so much more aggressive than mad cow disease was, that if it were to jump to humans, it would be like epidemic proportion.
Kill it, dude. We're humans. Fuck that. We're humans, man.
Yeah, we're humans. We make
big
building big industry, capitalism. Humans.
We'll defeat it with some strong pharmaceuticals. I'm sure.
Yeah. Just pump like 50 penicillins, you'll be okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm sure right now, dude. There's about 50 guys that have been paid $3 a piece, and they're all sitting there right now, penicillin out of their mind, while these doctors try and figure out a cure for humans for Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease. Don't you worry. Some guys are out there taking the bullet for us, bro. To those guys, I say peace.
Yeah.
Respect.
I just want there to be a bunch of like Roger that and thanks in your chat.
Yeah, man. Like, all of a sudden I get to like 100 viewers and it's all these guys like,
it's
yeah,
all
I'm
these
part of
guys
this
lying
program
drugged
right
out.
now. Yeah, man. One guy just writes, yeah,
He's just
in the
holding
chat.
like he's holding the J key on his keyboard.
It's like you have to scroll for an hour to get past this one chat message.
One chat message. He keeps repeatedly smashing his face into the keyboard.
What is this gibberish? We need to decipher it. It holds the key to the cure.
It does. Thanks, dude.
We're so fucking stupid, man.
There it is. It's Chris. Chris has just left me a message in my chat. Just J. It's a good job I haven't got text to speech on, isn't it? Because that would be really pissing me off about now.
J.
Oh, man.
J.
Just go. No, it's just like a robotic voice going. I feel like pieces of my soul are breaking off.
Right. Well, pieces of your soul are breaking off.
Yes.
About how many pieces? Would you say about 15 pieces? Say yes.
Yes.
About 15. What an interesting number to end on, because that leads me to segue neatly into my next section. That was so fucking smooth. I nearly slipped over on it. What the fuck?
Oh shit.
Sorry, I just kind of fell off my chair. I think you got me good, huh?
Chris fell on our pun.
So, apparently, 15 people have been arrested, I think in China, for developing and selling programs affecting PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And they've been fined a combined total of $5.1 million. Like, Jesus Christ.
Huh.
Congratulations, guys. I hope it was worth it. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
And you know what? That's literally the worst part. Is they are probably seen like really fucking nerdy, just laugh at experienced dudes who are just like way in over their heads now.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't mean to sound like racially insensitive, but are there like equivalent like Chinese neckbeards? And we got our neck beards over here, right? Then, like, do you have like foreign neck beards?
I think they do have foreign neck beards as well.
It would be like Sisal Cecil.
Hey guys, I just thought I'd stop by into the stream and talk to you guys today.
Go home.
Go home, you fat fuck!
Oh, okay.
It's gonna take me a minute to get to the door. I forgot my inhaler.
So many references, but back to the topic at
Oh god.
Come back.
I'm dying here.
Oh, my ears are sweaty. Hold on, I gotta take one of my earphones off.
Yeah, I've never had sweaty ears in my entire life.
Bro, it's so hot in this room right now. You don't understand. These headphones are so insulated.
Right.
For everyone who is in a Celsius, for everyone who's in a normal world where the degrees are in Celsius,
Yes.
it is a
Fuck you, man.
It is a freezing 21 degrees here in Africa.
Celsius.
Celsius.
Are you being sarcastic?
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm freezing my ass off.
21.
21
What? Just so I
degrees
can,
Celsius.
can I understand?
degrees
So
Celsius.
I
I
can.
am cold.
Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, like, that's mental. That's just mental, dude. That's crazy. Like, today, here, people have been driving down with the soft tops down, windows open, people walking around in t-shirts and shorts, and it reached 18. 18. you know the other night, right? I walked my dog and it was 6.
Hold on, let me go to Google real quick. Google.com.
Chris, in the winter here,
Celsius to Fahrenheit.
If it is 6, I am not leaving my house.
dude. What would you do if it was?
my bed?
What, dude? There's mornings in the winter, and I take
20 degrees Celsius is cold, Chris. Are you
freezing?
Are you
it's
fucking?
not.
It's 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like a nice day. That is nice.
To me, 21 degrees, or that other number that you just said, that's like, to me, that's any more than that, it's too much, and you can't fucking go anywhere. But that's where I would happily sit around anywhere in a t-shirt and be happy. But Chris, honestly, there are some mornings during winter. I took my kids to school, and the temperature readout on my car showed -6 when I got in it. That's how cold I know what it. That's how I know what it got to overnight. But by the time I'd driven to school and back, and my car is fully up to temperature, and it's still showing it's -3 out there, and you're complaining about 20. Do you understand the difference between that? That's 24 degrees.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. If I ever had to visit you, within a single day and night cycle, I would start to go blue, blood would come out of my eyes, ears, and nose, and I would be dead. I would literally die. My body would not be able to adapt.
Bro,
You wouldn't be able to come here because you wouldn't be able to bring enough clothes with you to wear all at once.
Bro, this year where I live, okay, the lowest we had was a -20.
Wow.
Celsius.
Fuck that, dude. It's not
Wow,
happening.
that's even. No, I'm out at that. Like -6, -7, dude. That's when I'm getting pissed off. It's that cold. Even I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going out.
You step outside and your
done.
skeleton starts to shake,
Yeah.
and like your muscles
Dude,
can't hold it in. You're just
dude.
like you hear the little clacking noises, like
Listen, no, right? I can tell you the only person that's worse than me, and I can tell you exactly what Chris would be like if he came over here, because there's a South African dude whose kids come to this school, and he's so fucking angry every morning. You want to see his face. He comes in, he's got like 5 sweatshirts on, a lumberjacket with a hoodie underneath, a hood up, a woolly tea cozy hat on, and he stood on the yard, stamping his feet and blowing and rubbing his hands, and he's effing and blinding, and I'm like, bro, hoe gaat dit, huh? And he's like, yeah, fucking. I hate this country, bro. I can't wait to fuck off home. I fucking hate it here, bro. And he's breath steaming out of his mouth. He's so angry every day, bro.
So
I
here's
feel
the
so
thing.
sorry for him.
I think I literally cried once when it went down to 8.
Oh my god! What?
When
Wait,
it went
you
down to
actually
8 degrees
cried?
Celsius. I think I cried. I think I cried and I said, I can't do this anymore.
Ray, this motherfucker's crying. He's expecting his tears to be freezing on his cheeks at 8 degrees.
Just for the people, the American people, you know, in my audience, that's 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn, dude.
So hey, if you ever want, but now that being said, so my winter time is basically the ideal visiting time for you guys. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
You guys don't have you guys don't have a winter time. You guys have a fucking rainy season. Okay, that's not winter time.
It's not. No, that's. You should probably just call that rain.
So everybody else is cold dead. Everybody else is cold dead, and South Africa gets wet.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It gets slightly moist.
I love that word. Moist is good. Listen to my chair squeak.
Do you know? Apparently, that's the #1 most hated word by women.
Moist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it a lot now.
I haven't just made that up. It's that and cunt. They don't like the word cunt.
I can attest to
what
the
about a
second
moist
one.
cunt?
I know. I think that's probably the most offensive thing you could. No, because do you know as well that it's supposed to be really offensive to ask a lady how old she is? So, like, the worst thing you could ever say is, "How old are you, you moist cunt?" So, there we go.
So fucking stupid.
So that's the TOS broken.
1 week from now, we're standing in front of Steve's grave. Got a tombstone saying he flew too high.
He flew too high.
You two fuckers are
Not that I
gonna
would
kill
ever
me.
say
You
that
need
myself.
to fucking stop.
No, I'm postulating, right? I'm theorizing here. I'm not saying like I've ever
I need to
done
move
this,
my
so I
mic
plan on
away
it.
and just kind of give myself some room at my desk.
It's just I think about these things sometimes, bro. You know.
I'm
Sorry for
fucking
anyone we have
seizure.
offended in the last 10, 15 minutes.
Bro, okay,
I never
dude, my
said you
description.
should.
My description literally says stay, participate, get triggered, then leave. That's my that's my description.
I'm not saying you should go do that. I'm not saying it's wise. I'm saying it would probably be the most offensive thing you could say to a lady. What about that? I don't know what about that is suggestive. or that I'm reinforcing that as positive.
Well, see moist
stating
by
a
itself,
fact.
moist by itself is pretty suggestive, bro. Like, I'm gonna be totally
and
honest.
say that there's maybe like 5% of it that's not really pissed off and thinks you're actually coming on to her.
Maybe
Yo.
1 out of 10 women would go, I like your balls. You've got courage.
I like your balls. I like your balls. Would you like
See
me to
that the
stand up?
twist is that he's not wearing any pants.
I like your balls, but you should probably put them away. This is a mall.
I'm gonna amend that tombstone. Stephen Nathan, reach for the stars, balls scraped on the floor.
my nickname in high school was Drapes. Okay.
Oh damn, that's a good one.
They also call me Batwing.
Well, I'd like to use this opportunity to ask if there are any side topics that I would consider.
Well, seeing as how's the seeing as how we planned this around the AAA gaming industry being broken,
Yes.
you know, and the subjects we were going to talk about, I do want to ask one thing. Do you guys feel like and this just may be me, right? But I feel like most games now, like there's a vast majority, not all, but there's a vast majority of games that are being released broken versus full and complete. And like there's a whole bunch of like
Wait, well, hold on, no. You need to be more specific there. Do you mean as in with content pieced out, or as in a broken buggy mess? To be broken up into part. You mean both? Okay, right. So
can we start with one?
What I mean,
I'll talk to you about the broken and buggy side afterwards. But yeah, go ahead with the
what I mean is a game that doesn't feel complete. That's my I feel like the with the rise of the internet and the 1-day patches, I feel like we've first day release patches. I feel like we've entered an age where developers can get away with releasing, I don't know. And it's not necessarily that they're buggy or a mess, you know, it's just like the game feels unfinished. You know, like the fucking Phantom Pain was a huge example to me. And obviously we've already talked about the whole Kojima thing and all that, but you know, the game is obviously unfinished. It's not a bad game, it's fun. You know, it's fun to play, but it's unfinished.
I'm one of the few people that think Kojima is a fucking tool, and he's got his head so far up his own arse that he can't see to write a proper game.
I'm with you there, but
I'm not saying the games he makes are shit. I'm not saying the games he makes are shit. What I'm saying to you is he makes continually stupid decisions that just seem to obfuscate and make things harder for himself.
True.
That is now my issue with him is the ego he's maybe grown over the years.
Arrogance.
The arrogance. That is why, like I've said before on one of these streams, I kind of want Death Stranding to fail.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you there.
My thing is I feel like more games are being released where their value is being hindered by bad, shoddy decisions, like releasing a game too early where it becomes a buggy mess, or splitting up microtransactions into it, or splitting up into mini DLCs, or asking people to pay more money. More games are being released in that manner, where like I feel like the value of the game, not on a fiscal level, not on a money level, but on a value of the game, that the way people see it and how many people want to play it, because it's being released in these methods, whereas fewer developers are taking the route where like CD Projekt Red did with The Witcher 3, you know, where they made a whole and complete game. I mean, I know Steve doesn't like The Witcher 3 particularly.
No, I do.
But I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's.
I'm getting around to it. I'm starting to knock off the single player games off my list.
Nice one.
Okay. Well.
I'm not being deliberately argumentative. I'm just saying I know we have spoke about The Witcher 3 in the past, and I've gone but
I know.
I have played it. I do like it. I'm just working my way around. There's other things I have to talk with you about there with that, but that's different. Go ahead.
Basically, the point that I'm getting to is that there's more games being released that feel broken, that feel like they're manipulative, that feel like they're buggy, that feel like they're being used as a tool to get more of my money, than there are games that are being released that feel like they're complete and honest pieces of work. That's my point. And I feel like the latter outnumbers the former by a long shot.
Easily.
Easily. I feel like there's few developers left who actually want to make an actual good quality experience for people, and that's my
definitely.
That's what I'm bringing to.
Now, if I can just sort of throw my 2 cents on that, that's basically, I think. Oh God, where was I going with this? Where was I going?
Hello.
Where was I going?
Hello. You're looking for.
Yeah. So basically, what I was thinking is, I think it's also because as and I think I've made this point before. God, I don't want to sound repetitive, but gaming as a whole is a more mainstream market than it used to be. And it all comes down to, I don't think any one of those developers wants to release their game broken. I don't think any developer anywhere wants to release a broken game. It then comes down to the publishers, the execs, and the big dogs at the top with their suits and their money. Because it is now, gaming is this huge, massive industry that's got this huge money circle that goes around it. I think that's where the issue comes in. It's because the shareholders need to see their turnaround faster than the developers can spit out a fixed and functional game.
I want to say something.
Please say it. I'll try not to get triggered.
Greed is going to be the downfall of every human development. Whether it's government,
the downfall of humans.
Everything we do. Once there's money involved, once there's something to be gained, it starts to lose its artistic value. It starts to lose the original. Like, let's talk about government for a minute, okay?
Oh God, we're getting deep. Let's go.
No. We are getting deep, okay? Because, like, the guy who invented capitalism. All right, let's just say, you know, when they invented capitalism, the idea behind it, or even communism, dude, or even the idea behind communism, when Marxists wrote when Karl Marx wrote the what is it called, Steve? I know you know this, the book that Karl Marx wrote.
I actually don't.
The Marxist
Steve,
something. He basically created communism, right? Now,
yes, he did. Yeah.
The original idea behind communism, that it eliminates social classes and allows everybody to live in an equal economical state, that's not necessarily a bad idea.
I've said that for a long time. Yeah, communism in itself isn't such a bad idea.
But the problem with it, with any system, with any form of government, is that you run into, for this to work, we need a selfless leader. We need a selfless group of leaders. We need people who are on top that don't make rules to benefit themselves.
But then that's not communism, is it? Because then they're not equal.
Yeah,
that's
where it becomes fascism.
No, it needs to be a perfect mix of perfect democracy and communism, where there are no leaders and every decision is made by all the people and everybody's exactly the same.
Even democracy eventually devolves, like all forms of government. From what this is a very personal opinion. So, I mean, if people out there think that I'm stating fact, then you know that I'm not stating fact. This is something that over my course of studying history and trends that I've seen throughout history, I have come to conclude that almost all forms of government either devolve into a monarchy or an oligarchy, which a monarchy obviously is one person who rules as a dictator and has and has all the power, or an oligarchy is a small group of individuals, like a House of Representatives, who rule. And that's basically what happens. And what happens is that slowly but surely they end up making rules that the public thinks, oh, that's not a big deal. I can deal with that. And they make these rules that are so small and minute, and over time they build, and it take away your freedoms little by little, in a very greedy fashion. And that's where it comes back to greed, where basically greed is the downfall of humanity, because they're not doing it to benefit the public. They're not doing it to benefit the earth. They're not doing it to benefit, anything besides their own agenda and pockets. And this is where it comes back to the gaming industry, where basically I was just talking about it on a bigger scale because I felt like it would be easier to understand on a bigger scale. But basically you have the same thing. You have a group of people who are in charge of something, and eventually the people on top are like, hey, how can we get more money into my pocket?
That's it. They want more. It's just more numbers. They want the numbers to be higher every year. So I'll put the nail on the head for you. the problem is if the numbers aren't bigger than last year by a considerable amount, it's not seen as progress. You can't be up 0.5% on last year. That's not enough. That's not progress.
Well,
you have to be up 20, 30% than last year. Everything has to be up, and that's not good. So for me, what you're talking about here, I can break into 3 separate areas. One is the cost, the cost of video games versus the value of what you're getting.
Yeah.
Two would be publishers or developers splitting up a game in so you're having to pay extra for shit that should have been part of the original fucking game. You're having to buy as DLC afterwards. And then the third bit is the actual state of the game on release. So with the state of the game on release, I've been playing video games for a long, long time. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
There's never been a bugless, glitchless video game.
No, there hasn't. But the trend, the trend has gotten worse.
No. The point is, right. So I'm going to half agree with you and half not. Since the invention of the internet and developers realized they could release a day one patch, yes, there is more of a reliance on day one patches. I don't know if that is such a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad
thing. Some developers do use it as a crutch, and some developers don't. This also refers back to what Chris was saying about pressure from publishers and people like that. and then so they've got a time frame because the people that are pushing the numbers and want to see the progress in the numbers every year, they're pushing to say, no, it needs to be out by this date because this is in line with this, and this other game's out this time. It needs to be out now. And they push, and then they end up, it needs patching when it comes out. That's just the way it is. That's, like I say, it's up to the publisher or the developer to learn and to know. EA are very bad at this. They simply have no fucking idea. But then people like you were talking about, what is it, Cyberpunk developers?
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red, yeah. They're not, people like that aren't so prone to using it as a crutch. So the other part of it, the cost versus
it is no. Don't get me wrong. Like just quickly, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying day one patching is bad, but it's a tool. It's a tool that should be used when needed. It shouldn't be something that developers rely on because they're too lazy to make a full game in the beginning. You know.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Because it's literally as the saying goes, give someone an inch and they will take a mile.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's up to morals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Human morals aren't very good.
Whereas now with the whole day one patch thing, you know, it is as Ray says, it should only be like for maybe like game breaking scenarios. Like for example, they accidentally ship a version of the game that is inferior to the actual final version, then a day one patch. But it's seen as a given now where, okay, it's fine if the game is 75% okay now, we've still got 24 hours to just go through and clear out that other stuff. Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that.
Well, the second part was, excuse me, was the amount you pay versus what you get. And it's kind of linked in with the DLC part as well, kind of a little bit. But video games have always been $60.
Yeah.
That's how much they've always been.
I know that.
But now think back to Mario's of old. You didn't get that much gameplay time out of them.
No.
Not really.
No.
But now you buy Mario of today, you're looking 30, 40 hours gameplay right there.
Yeah, but see, gameplay has evolved. You know, technology always, you know, like when the first phones came out, dude. Like you look at them now and you're like, God, that was awful. You can't believe, you know.
Yeah, I can't play old games. I can't play old games at all because they are fucking awful.
But you know, at the time,
more enjoyment out of today's games. But
at the time, it was At the time, it was, you know, it was the newest and greatest thing. Just like I'm sure people are going to look back at the shit that we do today and like 30, 40 years from now, and they're going to look back and say, man, I can't believe they did, they didn't have this, this, and this. And I'm not going to make any guesses as to what technology is going to be in the future. I'm hoping like holograms and shit.
They physically held their phones. It wasn't implanted into their heads. What kind of weird ancient civilization is this?
But yeah,
my words, at some point in history, a phrase is going to be coined to describe the time before the internet. And it's going to be something along the lines of the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages.
It's going to be something along the lines of that. You mark my words. Somebody will coin that phrase soon enough, and it will go down in history, and it will be in, and we'll be in the. I mean,
we need to say it every live stream. We need to say it every live stream because I am now fucking 100%. We are going to coin that term.
We'll try.
100%. The Dark Ages.
So
anytime we're referring to,
if there are any pre-Dark Age viewers out there, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, welcome. We're actually me and Steve are both Dark Age.
So wait, what am I?
I don't think we can have the Dark Ages. The Dark Age already existed. It was already a period in history. That's why I said something like the Dark Ages. We can't have that already.
Yeah, but
something like that.
You were birthed
the Blackout
in
Age.
Neanderthals.
Anyway, so back to our point. Okay, I wanted to add something in there about what you were saying about the cost and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I live in the U.S. Okay, we're a society.
Wait, what?
Hey,
Wait,
you know what?
You live where?
You better.
Where?
You better.
You joke.
You better calm the fuck down, okay? I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna lick your face, okay? You don't even know.
Banned from the call.
You don't even know, okay? I will stick my tongue on the tip of your nose and it'll be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, that would be kind of awkward, actually, to be honest. Yeah, okay,
Let's
I'll
not,
back down.
not even say we did.
I'll be quiet. Sorry, yeah, I give up. You win.
No. Okay, so I live in a very we pride ourselves supposedly on capitalism, and that's basically the fair trade, and we're allowed we very much depend on what is called the American dream, and we take a lot of pride in this ideal that's called the American dream. That's basically anybody can immigrate here, or any man, anybody's every man, can start a business and start from scratch and become something, and that's the American dream, right? But let's fast forward a bit to today's time where you have these huge corporations, and I've worked for many of these huge corporations, mostly in the manufacturing industry, but I'm sure it works the same in any organization that has any kind of bureaucracy ladder, where you have a CEO, you have your stepping stones, of levels of employment and people.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, in every company that I've worked for, there's been a constant progression outlook, was basically what you were talking about, where people constantly want to make, basically they want their numbers to be higher than last year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But
and
not
always
only
for some reason set it unreasonably high as well.
Not only do they want their numbers to be better than last year, but they want their output to increase at an exponential value.
Yep.
So basically what you run into is you're making your product, and say your company makes $8 million that year. Okay? So you've made $8 million. So next year we're going to make 8.5. And then you meet your goal. You do real good and you meet your goal. You make 8.5 the next year. And then the next year they want 9. Then if you meet your goal, you make the 9. Eventually what you're going to run into with that exponential value is that you're going to run beyond the capacity of what you're going to be able to do. Your employees are going to burn out. Your capacity is just not going to be what it's going to be. So eventually, with that they call it forward thinking. Okay, with that type of forward thinking, what you're going to run into is you're going to run into a point where you're going to have a really fucking bad year. You're going to have a really fucking bad year because you're going to reach a certain point where you've set your standards so high that
You can't hit it.
Yeah, you can't possibly hit it, and it's gonna look bad, and everybody's gonna get pissed off. And you know what? You know what bothers me the most about it is that the people who suffer for that and the people who get blamed are not the people who set the goals, not the people on top, but the lowest of the low, the manufacturers. So in this case, it would be the programmers, the developers, the people who are down at the bottom who don't get to make the rules.
And
you know?
and
those are the
from another industry. Just quickly, I can actually concur and attest to that because like I've been in that exact same situation myself, and it is 100% true, exactly how you say it.
And this is why, and this is the way I see this, because when I see EA like release a game that's single player, that's always online, okay, that's a publisher mistake. It's a bad mistake to make because people, you know, it's a single player game and they required it to be always online, and it fucked up their SimCity release, right? Yeah. So their answer to that is, well, we're going to shut down Maxis. And they shut down the developer who created the Sims. Which to me, yeah, so the people who suffer for these mistakes that they make, and one of my biggest fears, dude, because I actually like BioWare as a developer.
Yep.
I love BioWare. I think that they still have potential, even after Mass Effect Andromeda, you know, the huge deal that happened with that.
Yeah, that wasn't their fault either, though, man.
I still think that BioWare has the potential to be a great developer because the games that they've made in the past were impressive technological feats, in my opinion. You know, ranging from back of Baldur's Gate to Star Wars, the Old Republic, up to, you know, the modern Mass Effect and Dragon Age games. You know, that they've always made pretty good RPGs, in my opinion. And one of my biggest fears was when all this happened with Mass Effect Andromeda was EA's, obviously their decision of choice is always, well, that they fucked up, we're going to shut them down. And I was worried that maybe BioWare, I'm still worried. I wonder sometimes if that's not what's happening, you know.
That's why I keep saying. I mean, it's confirmed that they're working on Dragon Age 4. If you know anything about me, it's one of my favorite franchises. I don't want Dragon Age 4 because I'm afraid of what EA will do to it. I'm afraid of what EA will make BioWare do to it.
I couldn't be, physically couldn't be a developer and work with EA on anything, because at this stage everybody's quite well aware of what they do, and that's that they take on a license, give you the money to make the game, push you so hard to make it that you're forced to release an unfinished, broken mess, and then you get told off by them and expected to fucking patch and work your bollocks off and get the game fixed and put up. 6 months later, the game's somewhere near it should have been on the day of release. And then you get told off by EA and told they're never working with you again, and now your studio's closed.
Yeah, basically, and the problem
they have the power to buy anybody out. So at any point, if you object, they'll just buy your studio and fucking close it down themselves.
That's the thing, dude, is that in the past few years, EA has bought many major studios. Like a lot, and that's what they're doing. They buy them, they buy them to develop games, and then they end up fucking it up. The big corporate agenda is what's fucking up our favorite franchises, and that's where it goes. Is the AAA game industry broken? Yes, it is.
I couldn't do that though. I couldn't have somebody do that to me like that, dude. I'd stab a bitch. Like fucking hell. I'd be bad, man. That'd send me over the edge, bro. Straight up.
Well, unfortunately, Steve, like with your mindset like that, unfortunately, if you were a part of a game development team, you wouldn't be in the decision position.
No, I couldn't be. No.
Or if he was, he wouldn't sell the fucking company to EA.
Well, that's probably the point. Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make, is like if the opportunity ever arose to work with him, I'd send him a very polite, short 2-word email starting with F and off.
F and off. No,
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to get an email. I'm
That's
just
what
waiting to get an email after this to contact at onehitpowerup.com EA partnership program.
I'm good, thanks. I'm good, thanks. I'll leave that to you.
You guys can't. You guys can't badmouth us anymore. That's the only thing. You just keep doing your podcast just like you're doing it. Just don't badmouth us anymore.
Yeah.
And also, while you're doing it, could you please sell season passes to your future streams to your viewers?
Yeah. And then if you want to watch the whole thing, like the last 30 minutes of the stream is a DLC.
Oh yeah. Says, tell me more, Chris. Where do I sign? Tuck says, tell me more, Chris. Where do I sign?
You sign right here at the bottom and in blood.
Yes, in blood. Yeah. And don't mind my friend Mr. Beelzebub that stands witness while we sign the contract.
You got to cut your finger open and put your fingerprint right in the middle of the pentagram.
Well, so back to what we were talking about. The third piece of this whole thing here is DLC. Now, I remember a time when you paid $60 for a game, and that was what you got. There was never any word that you would have to buy anything else. There was never any word that you would buy. There was never a thing where you would buy a better, pay more, get a slightly better edition, and get anything extra. And there wasn't even any extra editions. It was just you went out and bought the game and you got what you got. But that isn't the case anymore.
When I talk
Do I like it?
When I talk about DLC, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
There is a right way and a wrong way. Yeah,
because
this is what I'm getting onto. Yeah.
Like say you release a game, right? And it's an FPS, you know, Call of Duty clone type, you know, PvP shooter. Okay? And originally you have like 15 maps, you have several guns, you know, and you decide you want to add more to the game, you want to charge for it. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. But if you release a game that has 3 maps, 2 guns, and, you know, you get where I'm going with this, right? I'm losing my train of thought, but you get where I'm going with this.
Because your bird's there trying to mimic you. Yeah, I hear that shit.
Oh.
Can you stop getting a blowjob under your bench, please, bro?
So basically what you're getting at is there's some games that you can feel like they're so lackluster. They're so lackluster of content that they've basically been built for DLC to be added in.
Yeah, they're not. It's not DLC anymore.
It's not a complete experience.
You're paying for half of the game, like when Star Wars Battlefront released. Like not the old one, right? The old one is fucking classic gem, but the new one when it released, you know, the way that they released it was so little content. It didn't feel like. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a pretty game, and I felt like the developers at DICE made some really pretty, you know, interpretation of Star Wars. The way they built the world, I liked it, but I didn't feel like there was enough modes or enough maps to really warrant a $60 price tag. And that may just be me. I'm not talking about Battlefront 2. I'm talking about Battlefront 1, by the way. Battlefront 2 is a whole different set of problems that we already got into in a live cast in the past.
Right.
But see, back to Witcher 3, they did a good job on the DLC, I think.
Because also, I don't want anyone to get the impression that we think that CD Projekt Red are these gods that can't do wrong.
Fuck you, Chris!
No, shut up. Shut up.
I'm kidding, dude. Don't get offended. Don't get triggered.
They probably have, and they probably will, but now we just use them as an example because so far, up until this point, they've done it more or less.
Let me put it this way. Up until this point, CD Projekt Red has not disappointed me as a consumer. As a consumer, they have not disappointed me. They've made the right decisions, and I feel like they are an example of the way AAA gaming should treat its customers. If that makes sense. But see,
then on the basis of that, then what you said before about DLC is completely wrong. If CD Projekt Red are treating everybody right by never doing any paid DLC ever, which they have done with The Witcher 3, they have done with The Witcher 3, haven't they?
Yeah, but I did. You missed my point.
Now, Ray didn't say that exactly. And now, Steve, I agree with you. But the difference now, this is with a single-player game, which I think is a little bit different. You get some single-player experience today that will sell parts of their story as DLC. They'll sort of lock the true ending behind a paywall. With now The Witcher 3, for example, yes, that had story DLC. I've bought the DLC. I'm playing through that DLC currently, but it is not essential to the story. That is the developers, after finishing the game, after giving you the full experience for your $60, them still saying, you know what? If enough people want it, we're going to make more story, more content, and charge for the time we spend making it. That's all right.
They basically made a 60-hour experience that was a good experience and it was fun. And then they went back and they made another 20-hour experience, which to me is like it's like it's almost like if you play the like I don't know if it's like not being able, I can't explain it right. Like if you play The Witcher and then you get their Blood and Wine expansion, which I think at this point is like $15 to $20. It's like they created an entirely new game. It seriously feels like there's a new map.
And it's totally different.
Yeah, it feels
it's a totally different experience. But also, I think the biggest thing is that although it's brilliant, it's not essential.
No,
that's the key thing. It's not essential to your experience. Like Steve, I think you just have a basic version of The Witcher 3, correct?
Yep.
So you can play that and never touch the DLCs and be happy.
Yeah.
You're 100% happy because you will get a satisfying ending. You are getting the full $60 experience.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've got to go and buy Blood and Wine. No.
No, and that's the point, is that you don't have to. Nobody's like, well, if you want to see this and this and this of the story, then you have to get Blood and Wine.
Stupid Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, I'm still burnt.
So what we've got in a roundabout way is pretty much how I feel about DLC. For single player games, it's pretty much fine. It's pretty much fine.
As long as it doesn't lock the story or any progression content behind a paywall.
No, it's when you come to DLC for online multiplayer games that things aren't great, because that splits the player base in two: those that have it and those that don't. Now
that as well. That's a very valid point.
Yeah, you have to be very specific about then. But DLC and online multiplayer games can be done right, because you can do like skins, basically customization options. But when you start adding things in for paid DLC that change the game, like new cars, new guns, new cars, and stuff like that, and if you haven't got that, then
you either can't play
you're
or
out.
It's
because games now, what they do is, oh man, I don't know if you saw a while ago, there was a thing where Activision had to confess to some kind of matchmaking algorithms that they had.
Yeah, I saw that.
They would, say for example, Ray, I had a particular DLC gun and you didn't have it, right? It would matchmake you against me, and I would destroy everybody with that DLC weapon, which would then incentivize you to go and buy that DLC weapon.
Well, see, that's
further to that, your first game with that DLC weapon, you would be matched with a bunch of fucking low-level arseholes that you were guaranteed to beast on, so you would then feel like that your purchase was justified because it's made you better at the game. And Activision actually confessed to that. Now, this is bad. That's very, very, very bad. That's one of the most awful things I've ever heard of.
I completely agree with you. I think that's awful.
I can't stand that. But then you got to come down to grey areas, because there are some games where a lot of the games are a lot of the guns are pretty much the same, but it's cosmetics are fine. Everything's fine as long as it doesn't affect mechanics or gameplay. Don't add anything and put it behind a paywall that is a mechanic, or that there is anything intrinsic to gameplay, because that's not cool at all. Not cool. And developers are slowly waking up to this. They are. But it's people like Activision and EA that still think it's okay. So and EA are guilty for this, and I'm guilty of partaking in it. Remember we was talking about loot boxes before, and I dropped a revelation on you.
We have.
And let you know that actually EA were making loot boxes way before Overwatch. They were in Overwatch way before, and it's because the premium. There's a premium thing you could buy in Battlefield games, which got you all the DLC. You buy the premium license, you get all the DLCs for free, and you get like so many loot crates every month to open, and they give you weapon skins, new knives, and stuff like that. But then what they'd do is they'd put DLC would have new guns and new maps in, and if you didn't have premium, you're not getting them.
So basically,
Unless
what it would
you go
do
and buy
is
the
it would
deals,
just
yeah.
it would just matchmake you with people who had.
It would make you could bet because Battlefield always had a massive player base, so you could probably bet that everybody there, like, would buy premium anyway. But there were always a lot of people that didn't, so you would always and those people would start to get a bit pissed off, and you, well, I fucking understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I feel like you're right. I feel like EA, was doing that long before, but I feel like free-to-play games and Overwatch are responsible for like mainstreaming it, like popularizing it into what we now know as the microtransaction era of gaming.
Yeah.
We've officially entered the microtransaction era, guys. Isn't that great?
Yay.
Well, but this is another thing. So it's been a bad time for EA recently. You must obviously get this overall feeling yourselves. It's been a very, very bad time for them. Two of their biggest titles have cost them fucking dearly, and I mean really, really badly. So I refer back to again what I was just talking about this premium thing. And it was in Battlefield 3, it was in Battlefield 4, and then Battlefield 1 that just came out. Yes, I know, Chris, all right? It goes 3, 4, and 1. Shut the fuck up. I know, okay?
Sounds
right.
like accounting perfectly normally to my
know.
dyslexic self.
I know. Why they didn't just call it Battlefield World War 1, I don't know. They called it Battlefield 1. Even before it was coming out and we knew it was called Battlefield 1, people were like, why? Why? Because we've already had Battlefield 1. It was called Battlefield. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so it's been, these loot boxes have been there. This time in Battlefield 1, everybody's angry. Everybody's really angry. We've always had bitching before about the people who don't buy premium. For me, I bought premium to support DICE because I love Battlefield games and I want them to have my money, not EA. So yeah. I give them a bit extra to make sure. It makes no sense, I know, but that's the way I fucking rationalize it, all right?
Here you go. Here's your little tip.
Here's my little bit more, yeah. And now, so in the past few games, we've had the non-premium guys getting angry and saying, yeah, but look how much you get. The guns that they get are way better than the vanilla guns. This is bullshit. And the maps that you get are always better than the vanilla maps. This is bullshit. Like. And then, so what they did for Battlefield 4 was at the end of Battlefield 4's lifespan, they just started giving the DLC away for free. They would just go, right, so this month you can get this DLC, that's now free for the rest of time. And then all the premium guys were like, fuck it, hold on a minute. What? And then Battlefield 1 came out, and they've just started giving the DLC away for free now on that, because it's at the end of its life cycle. So now everybody's really pissed off with them, and they've said, yeah, don't worry, there'll be no premium in the next Battlefield game, which is coming out this year, Battlefield 5.
Oh.
And that'll be out this year, and there's going to be no premium in it at all. There's going to be no loot boxes or loot crates.
I'm not holding my breath because
I am because let's put it like this, right? The FC have been involved, haven't they? About all loot boxes and everything. There's been a huge stink over loot boxes, which ties me neatly into the second reason, the second license, and you know it's Star Wars. They fucked Battlefront 2 up royally, and we all know how much they've paid out of their arse for that. They have been.
They broke the golden rule, though. They pissed off the one fan base not to piss off.
Don't fuck with the Star Wars guys, man. Don't. Like everything that they've had has been totally justified as far as I'm concerned. They deserved everything they got. They did royally. Try and fuck that game up. But the problem is, it is that has now caused a serious lack of trust with EA. Like consumers, no one likes EA. No one really liked them anyway, because they've always been known as avaricious, greedy bastards that just slip, slide, and fucking snake all over everything. They're awful, an awful, awful, awful company. But they are necessary because they've got a lot of fucking money.
They also own a lot of my favorite developers.
Right, but they've got a lot of clout. Nobody can deny that. They've got money to throw behind marketing and all that kind of shit, haven't they? They can do that stuff, man. There's reasons for them, otherwise they wouldn't exist. Let's put it this way. If they were really bad at their jobs, they wouldn't be here. Because they'd have just gone under, wouldn't they? Yeah? They must be doing something right. Whether it's ethical or not, they must be doing something right. Now, my point is... that some stuff happened, and then something else might have happened, and then we all went yay, and then we went home and had some tea. Right. It's the short version. I kind of forgot where I was going.
But we had Earl Grey, and that's what's important.
Yeah, I have actually got some. Yeah.
Oh, you dirty boy. So yes, hello Ray.
Thanks.
Something I just wanted to throw in with this whole thing also, like I think I heard Steve mention a little bit earlier, games have always been $60, and you know what, that's fair, that's fine, and I'm going to take a stance that you've probably heard a lot recently. If games should cost more than $60, then make them cost more than the $60. But I'd like to pitch a different thing. Why don't they then make an experience that they think is worth the $60? Something that they think is, you know what, once we've made this item for $60, that's it. You don't get any DLC, you don't get anything else, and see how the public reacts to it.
Yes, but what we think is worth $60 and what they think is worth $60 is two completely different things, my dude.
They'll try to get away with the least amount of work for the most amount of money. That's the way. Yeah. That's the way it works for them.
Yeah. Some guys sat there going,
unless you have a company that is passionate about what they do, and those are the few and far between that we haven't been talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, there are. I mean, so when it comes to, it was DLC we were talking about, and when it's right to part it out and when it's right not to. And it does basically come down to some guy sat there in the suit saying, "No, mate, what you've made there is $140 worth of game there, mate. We need to chop that up a bit, yeah, get more money out of it." And that's not.
And you know what? I can actually visualize in my head a scenario where they take and they sort of demo it to the guys in the suits, and they're showing them this beautiful world they've created, this beautiful, fantastic game, and the second they're done presenting, it's all gone right over these guys' heads, and the first thing they ask is, right, so how much can we take away before you think people will start noticing?
Yep. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
And then these developers are there, sort of choking on their souls, the very essence of their beings, to try and sort of say, well, you know, I suppose you could take this, you could take that.
You could lower the texture resolution a bit.
Can you imagine being a developer now to do that?
That would, dude. As an artist, dude, I make music, right? And I draw a little bit, like I do sketches, and so I've been an artist my whole life. And as an artist, like, because I would view, in my opinion, if I was making a game, that would be a work of art for me. Like, I would want it to be as good as I could make it within my talents, you know. So that would hurt me, bro. Whether I was doing it for money or not, I mean, that would hurt me. I would want to present my vision to people, not.
Definitely. An example for myself is I'm writing a song. I make a song, and then whoever my record label is, they tell me, okay, take out your guitar solo. We're gonna sell that separately for more.
Yeah, we're gonna sell that.
Yeah.
There you go,
No,
man.
just,
It's
I'll
done.
just
We have made we have made the greatest point. I don't think there's gonna be a better point about that. I like that. I like that device you used. Metaphor, whatever. Ow! My bird just bit me.
Metaphors are devices. I like that.
Device. Anyway.
They are, aren't they?
So
okay,
do we
shall
have
we slide on to our last subject?
Yeah, because I have 10 minutes, guys.
Okay, right.
10 minutes.
So, I've got a little bit of reading here, so bear with me, but it's worth it in the end. Okay?
Do it, but you're Belgian.
It's news of an Epic Games lawsuit against a 14-year-old and his mom. Epic Games filed a lawsuit against a couple of particularly determined Fortnite cheaters late last year, one of whom turned out to be a 14-year-old boy. That led to a scathing letter from the lad's mom, who said the studio had, quote, has no capability of proving, unquote, its claim. And even if it did, she hadn't given the boy consent to play the game as required by Fortnite's T&C. It was an epic response, as you might say, which led to more legalistic maneuvering, but no further response from the defendant or his mother. As a result of that silence, Epic moved for a default judgment on February 13th, but the court ruled that the letter sent by the mother in November should be construed as a motion to dismiss the case, which forced Epic to issue a response. It did so earlier this week, saying that because defendant has not carried his burden of proving Epic's complaint fails to allege sufficient facts to state a claim for relief that is plausible on its face, his motion to dismiss must be denied. I'm struggling to make out what that means. Because defendant has not carried his burden of proving Epic's complaint fails to allege sufficient facts to state a claim for relief that is plausible on its face, his motion to dismiss must be denied.
So wait, bro, my brain
it's legalese.
Yeah,
I know.
My brain
it's
can't.
legalese, and it's legalese, and that's weird.
My brain can't comprehend what you just said. So basically, he cheated.
He
cheated in the game. So let me go through this because I need to process it like very slowly.
Let's have an American see if he's got it for us.
Okay.
Hold on.
Put your Taco Bell down for 5 minutes.
I'm not allowed Taco Bell. Too many carbs.
Oh.
Anyway. No. So basically, he cheated, and he's getting sued for cheating, but he's not old enough to be sued. So they're actually suing his mom, who didn't know about the cheating. She's
wise, obviously, right? She's wise, and she's basically said, "Oh no! I didn't give him permission to play. And if you look in your own terms and conditions, children under a certain age can only play the game if given permission by an adult. Because I didn't give him permission, that gives him culpability. He shouldn't have been on it in the first place, so he's not guilty of anything."
And basically, what they're saying is that she can't prove that she didn't give him permission.
No,
that's what it sounds like to me.
It's their ignorance because they haven't responded. The Epic Games want them to say basically they've defaulted, so you need to award it to us. And the courts are saying, well, actually, that letter, that what she's saying kind of makes sense. Then it's saying that Epic argued that 3 of the 4 basic arguments made in the letter: 1, that it can't prove the defendant modified the Fortnite code; 2, that Epic illegally released the defendant's name; 3, and that it could not demonstrate a financial loss, are incorrect, baseless, and/or irrelevant. So, because that's what Epic is saying. Epic is saying that the woman's response was basically, Epic can't prove that my son modified Fortnite code, which is how he would be cheating. They can't prove that that Epic also illegally released my son's name, and that Epic cannot demonstrate a financial loss based on my son's supposed activities, which are the criteria they would use in order to go after someone.
Which is true because Fortnite is free, guys.
Yeah.
It's free. I mean, you know, the worst you can have is like somebody stop playing it.
But this is the important bit here. Apparently, if an infant enters into any contract subject to conditions or stipulations, he cannot take the benefit of the contract without the burden of the conditions or stipulations. And it says clearly infant as well. So this stops children signing up for stuff, taking all the shit and not paying out, not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? Not taking the consequences that come.
No, I mean, sure. I believe that there should be.
So
consequences
that's what they're saying, right?
Yeah,
but
you're.
But she's saying the response states, citing a 2008 case, which is bad because that gives precedent, and you know that precedent in law is a big thing. If it's basically precedent is if someone's been in court for this once, then someone else will be in court, can go to court for it as well. Like, even if it's not been too clear, like, it's a bit weird how precedent works. But anyway, it says 4 high school students sued a software company for copyright infringement because its anti-plagiarism software, which the school used for submitting written works, kept archives of that work, which they claimed violated the Copyright Act. The software company claimed that a contract was formed when the students clicked "I agree," while the students claimed the infancy defense rendered it void, which is the thing I just spoke to you about.
Yeah.
The court declined to apply the defense at summary judgment and held that a valid contract existed between the minors and the software company as a result of the students' affirmative agreement to the user agreement by clicking "I agree." The court found that the infancy defense failed because a minor may not, quote, use the infancy defense to void their contractual obligations while retaining the benefits of the contract. Which is fair enough. Stops a kid signing up, taking the benefits of the contract and not paying the consequences. That's understandable.
Yeah. And I have nothing against like somebody. I mean, obviously Epic Games is trying to protect their product, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it would set a good precedent for people who try to cheat on online games. Like, you know, if you're gonna go and change our code, then we can prosecute you. And I feel like there will be consequences. I feel like this case sets a good precedent. If it were to work out in Epic Games' favor, I feel like it sets a good precedent for dealing with cheaters, which I hate.
Also, I do think we can all agree that at this point, both Epic Games and this mother and a child are probably looking at this whole thing right now, thinking this has gotten out of hand real quickly.
Yeah. Well, check this out. The last little bit is Epic's final say on it. And they say, pertaining to what we were just talking about, because the defendant, quote, retained the benefits, unquote, of the contract with Epic when he clicked "I agree," which it takes to mean that he continued to play Fortnite, which he did. Mm-hmm. The infancy defense does not apply, and the motion to dismiss Epic's case should be denied. Basically, the case should just go through because that's no go, man. That's no bueno. He clicked agree and then went on to go and cheat and then carried on playing, whilst after knowing he was doing something illegal. He retained the benefits after signing the contract.
And I think I agree with that. I feel like this is good for us gamers.
Yeah, just because you're a kid doesn't mean you should get away with that shit.
And not only just because it's a kid. I feel like the fact that it's a kid makes a good point, because that means that even minors who are doing these things can face the consequences of their actions. But I think I feel like this makes a statement to all cheaters. All people who want to modify the code of a game to their benefit. I feel like this makes a good statement. Like, hey, you can be prosecuted, and maybe this will benefit our player bases. I mean, we all play online games, right? I play PUBG with Steve. I play Overwatch with Chris, and I know that the cheaters are out there. We've run into them a couple of times, haven't we, guys?
Boy.
So basically, I feel like hopefully this will improve our gaming communities, especially the gaming communities that we like to be a part of, and the gaming communities that we like to play in.
Definitely, and I think also with the PUBG hackers that have now been sued and are facing potential jail time, I think what's really good also now in throwing in this 14-year-old case is it makes the sort of, let's even go ahead and call it air quotes, gaming crime, online gaming crime, if you want to call it that. It makes it faceless, which is important. Meaning, yes, we've proved now that anyone can do it, but it doesn't matter who you are. There will be consequences.
Yeah. So there should be. So there should be, man. I hate cheaters.
Anyways, guys, that's all the time I have.
They're majestic creatures, though. Come on, man.
I had a fantastic time again.
I'm gonna have to dupe out on you guys. I'm sorry.
No worries,
but anyways, for all of the people who have been watching or still sticking with us, thank you very much for stopping by. My name is Ray. I run the Say Wolf 1 channel. This is Steve and Chris, and they run Mr. Ixolite and Last Life respectively. Look them up. They got some great content. So
Definitely.
do I. Some shameless self-promotion there for you guys. And just a quick thing. We love you guys, and we really appreciate the fact that you guys take the time to stop by and listen to us banter and
even if you couldn't stay for the live stuff, hopefully you're enjoying the archives. Hopefully you have enjoyed the archives, because this is now the end of it.
Yeah. And anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Do you have anything? You have any closing statements, Steve?
Man, can't wait till next month.
Yeah, me neither. Well, maybe we'll do it. Maybe if we get more time, we'll do this bi-monthly. I really like these. I feel like we get a lot done, and we have some pretty good discussions. You know,
when I move, I will be. Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. That will conclude our live stream. Hope you enjoyed, and make sure to stop by our website, onehitpowerup.com, if you want more stuff like this and other entertaining little quips and bits.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.